Guys, the market moves for one reason and one reason only. Do you know what that reason is? That reason is liquidity, okay? It doesn't move because of the RSIs needing to reset or because of the presidential election or for any other reason. Oh, the fear and greed index is oversold. No, that's not why it moves. The market moves for one reason and one reason only, and that reason is liquidity. We talk about it all the time on the channel. I'm surprised you still don't know that, but now you know. So for the next time I ask you, you'll be ready. What essentially is liquidity, right? Or rather, a better question. Whenever the market is moving, you need to always ask yourself, what's happening right now, right? Because if the market always moves due to liquidity, what is happening? Well, we are either generating liquidity or we are attacking liquidity. That's it. Guys, it's no different than a casino. There's a reason why I always refer to the markets as a casino. Can you walk into the casino and play for free? Absolutely not. So this is no different. This is a business. It is no different. The market makers pay money to send prices in certain directions. It costs them money. So they're going to get a return on their investment. Okay? And when open interest is on the rise, it is very likely that they are generating liquidity if they are ranging. Because what happens in a range is you generate liquidity to the upside and you generate liquidity to the downside. And then they eventually probably will wreck both sides, kind of like what they did here the other day on this CN Tower pattern. Shouts out Toronto. Yeah. So what do I think is coming up next? Okay. What do I think is happening next? Well, I think that everyone is going to be taken off guard. Okay. If we zoom out here on Biddy, we're on Biddy. We're going to go to the 12-hour time frame. We're going to hide everything, right? We're going to hide all the indicators right now. We zoom out. You can see that we have virtually been up only now with, on the 18-hour, 12-hour daily time frames, zero pullbacks, okay? Literally zero pullbacks. You have had zero pullbacks whatsoever, okay? We've been up only now for 2 weeks straight, or 1 week straight, sorry. 1 week straight. 1 week straight of up only, virtually zero retracements, whatever. Now, when this happens, we're going to jump down on the 1 hour time frame. When this happens, what is created below us is liquidity, okay? Just like how on the downside, when we had this kind of shitty looking curve that we've talked about on the channel as well, you were building, did you get it right? Liquidity, okay? And then you evidently come and attack that liquidity. So there's no denying that we now have built up strong liquidity above us, but it's not as simple, or below us rather, but it's not as simple as that, okay? Because what did I say? They move the markets to generate liquidity, which is what a range is, or to attack liquidity. They've already attacked, how many times can I say liquidity in one video? They've already attacked that. They've already attacked this, obviously. And now the next line in sight here is the $70,000 high, okay? Now, if we zoom out, we come back on the daily time frame. We've been in this range. Everyone knows about this range. If you don't, I don't know what you're doing, but everyone knows about this range. And right now, currently, everybody is drawing this line, okay? Everybody is drawing this line. Now, you need to ask yourself whenever you're trading, and this is for any asset, by the way, not just crypto, for forex, for futures, anything, okay? You need to ask yourself, what would be the most painful scenario? What are the market makers going to do? What do they think is going to generate or attack, essentially, the most liquidity? How can they make the most profit off of their investment of moving the market? Because like I said, trading is a business, okay? Here's what I'm thinking. We are right now in a 12-hour order block, okay? But we're not just in the 12-hour order block. In the last video, I talked about how my line in the sand, which is kind of an unfortunate line in the sand, I'm not going to lie to you, but my line in the sand is $70,000. Why? Because if you take your structure from the high to the low, you have high, we're going to skip some points, low, high, blah, 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 okay? And then you have the $70.1 thousand high that we put in, and then we had our 49K low. We've talked about this many times, and we've talked about how we are right now internal on these time frames, okay? Now, you did SFP that 70K or that 49K low, meaning that by default, your 71K is the high, okay? Why am I illustrating this order block if we're talking about this high? I ultimately do believe that we are going to sweep now $70.1 thousand. Okay, whether or not we close above there is a completely different story. You obviously can't go to all-time high without hitting 71K first, obviously. However, what I will say is that it doesn't make sense to me for them to have sent price this high up. Okay, for them to have sent price this high up to not take that high. In addition to the fact that we do have a daily SFP here on the low, meaning that this would be your high. So we have two confluences already for that to be taken. Now, Geo, why the hell are you talking about liquidity so often or so much in this video, so many times, if we're talking about, like, you know, coming up and taking 70K? Here's what I'm saying. I think that Max Payne is not up right now anymore, okay? The reason I'm saying that is because, remember, why does the market move? The market moves to attack liquidity and to generate liquidity. We've been up only. We've literally been up only. And ever since we put in this 49K low, we never took that low again on a macro time frame in terms of like this being our little range here, macro range. We never visited the lows again, not really, right? It's all internal shit, like I said. We never accumulated at the low, etc. So what do I think is possible now? I think that everybody is drawing this trend line, okay? I think everybody's drawing this trend line. And I think that everybody thinks that this trend line is going to hold, okay? Or that many people think that it's going to hold. Now, the people that think it's going to hold are probably shorting here right now, like myself, okay? Geo, you just said that we're probably going to come take the high. Why are you talking about? Listen, what is the most Max Payne? You have to think like a market maker. What do I think is going to happen right now? Internally, we have this uptrend. We have up, we have down, we have up, we have down, and then we took the high again, okay? We have up again, which means that this is your protected low on the internal pull, okay? Remember, especially in this last leg, it has literally been up only for a week with 0 longs tested. You could have longed any Asia open. You guys know I say it all the time. First of all, we don't like Asia. Not Asia. We don't like the Asian market makers. Second of all, the Asian market makers love giving away free money on their open more than they love rice and noodles and Hello Kitty. So it's been up only for a week. Could it just blast through here? Yes, but I have an idea. This is a 12-hour order block that we're in right now. Whenever you're in a big order block like this, you should expect somewhat of a reaction. And we're already expecting somewhat of a reaction. Great, fine. You know, I've shorted, I've longed. Doesn't matter, right? I'm in a scalp, but the scalp could turn into a swing. Who cares? We're talking bigger picture here. What I think is going to happen is I think that a lot of people are going to short here because they think that this trend line is going to hold. And I do believe that it is going to hold temporarily. And we're kind of dumping right now. So that's already good, okay? Now, where could it dump to? There's two places it could dump to. Remember, we talked about this internal pull. I'm only going to draw it from here. We have up, we have down, we have up, and that's your internal pull. We'll make this blue so we don't get confused, okay? We have our blue pull here. Now, based on structure says that you should not be looking to take this low. This should be a protected low because we broke above the high. Wonderful. But you could also SFP that low, okay? So off the jump, 58 is in the cards. Do I think it's going to go to 58? I don't know, okay? I have no way of knowing, but what I will tell you is that they front ran my 12-hour order block. So if I'm a market maker and I want to trip up as many people as possible, remember, my job is to attack liquidity, right? I think many people think that this is going to be the move that takes you to all-time high. I don't think it's going to. And I think that many people think that this line is going to be the move that takes you down to 44K. I don't think that that's going to happen either. So I think, at the very least, one of two scenarios now is going to happen. And I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. No problem. But what I'm saying makes sense to me. I think that we're going to expect somewhat of a pullback. My bet is at least around $64,000, okay? $64,000. Kind of wreck some of the late longs here. Again, we've been up only for a week straight, okay? We've been up only for a week straight. And it wouldn't be the most bearish thing. Remember, you'd be keeping this blue line intact. You would essentially be expecting this, okay? You'd be expecting that. So I think that we're going to come down to at least there. I think it's too easy of a ride. The longs have had it too easy. They have not been punished enough, in my opinion, and that we are well overdue for a move to the downside. To support my idea, my thesis here, if you come on the higher term time frames, like the 12-hour, you're getting divergences and you're topped out. 18-hour, you're topped out with divergences. Daily, you could potentially get some daily divergences here and you're topped out. 8 hours is the one that screams the most to me. The 8-hour looks absolutely horrendous. You have a big wave above the 75K. So this could be potentially an anchor wave. However, that's a divergent wave with money flow coming out, aka it is a spike wave. I would be surprised if you don't get at least a couple percent to the downside from here. But it's our job to identify where we could come to. So for now, I'm saying, give or take, maybe 63.5, 64K, if not lower to SFP this low. Okay. What would this effectively do to the market? Well, people would get scared. People would long trying to catch the dip and they'd get stopped out here. And more importantly, they would give the bears strong confidence that they caught the top. So they would long or they would short the whole way. And, whatever happens in terms of price action after that, we will have to wait and see. But I believe that right there is the most max pain scenario, because I'll tell you why. The late longs for the past week, they haven't been tested. The late longs get wrecked. Okay. And I think it's about time the longs get wrecked, man. People are way too bullish. Okay. But it gives the bears a lot more confidence that this level is going to hold and that they found the high. And then what do I think is going to happen? And by the way, guys, this is subject to change. Okay. I get this information, the data, the candles in front of me the same way you guys all do every single day in real time. And I change my bias and I change my opinions based on what I see. So this could change. Don't marry this idea. But for now, this is what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to come down. I think we're going to come down to 64-ish, or we're going to come down to 57 to sweep this low and hit that 12 order block that we did not hit. Then I think we're going to come up and we're going to sweep this high. Remember what I said at the beginning of the video? I find it very unlikely at this point that they came all the way back up here to not sweep this liquidity. Now, I will say this. The sweeping of the liquidity part is kind of a wild card because they don't need to, okay? They don't need to. If they keep this liquidity intact, this is more bullish for later. And on Twitter, and again, I could be wrong about it, and if I am wrong, I'll 100%, I'd own up to it, no problem. This is all speculation. I don't predict the market anymore. I just react to it. But if you put a gun to my head and say all-time high 74K or 49K, I still think we touch 49K before we touch 74K. I still believe that. I could be wrong. I still believe that. So what I'm thinking is we get somewhat of a pullback, and then we sweep this high, stopping out all the bears, right, that are perma bear. And because we have a lot of liquidity here, we keep the all-time high intact, and then we come down. And then we make it down to our 49K level. That's what I'm thinking, okay? You also have this liquidity being built up. Anybody with eyeballs can't deny that, okay? You cannot deny that. So with all this being said, this is what I think is the most max pain route. I don't think it's up, not at all. I think that it is down, get everyone tripped up, then sweep them all, right? You're generating more liquidity. You're generating more liquidity. Why did I even go on about liquidity in the beginning? Because this little range here is generating liquidity currently, right? This is generating liquidity. And shout out to the Nexus, by the way, because we had a perfect short entry from this exact high. Okay, my short level was right like this. Something like that. So perfect short from the exact high. And we called this short this morning. We almost had the long, but they front ran the long again. And we had this long. Anyways, who cares? I'm not here to brag. That's shoulda, coulda, woulda. Who cares about the past? It's over with. We're talking about the future. That's what I think is going to happen, guys. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, again, the data can change. But right now, I don't think we're going to come up and touch this high just yet. I think it's too easy for the longs. I think that the bears have been holding on, long enough. It's been almost 3 months since we've seen that high. They can hold on a little bit longer. I think we come down. Maybe we sweep that low. Maybe we bounce off of here. And then we come up, sweep that high, sweep this high, don't touch the all-time high, and then come back down. Or we do touch the all-time high. We could. We definitely could. This is easy liquidity to grab, but if we touch the all-time high and then we come back in this range, I think the bull run is over, guys. And I don't think that the bull run is over. So that's why I don't think that that's going to happen, right? We haven't had an alt season. Dominance is still on the rise. Shouts out to myself for, sticking to my guns on that dominance is going to remain bullish because I still think it's going to 60, 61. So we'll see. I don't know. This move to the upside stinks. I don't like it. They never tested any longs. Don't like it. Whenever they don't test any longs, what has happened in the past? Every single time they rip it down. I have no evidence right now to suggest that this time is any different. I have evidence to suggest that it's not. Shouts out to myself for calling out how Dixie's bullish. Why is Bitcoin bullish if Dixie's bullish at the same time? Why are they both pumping? Ask yourself that. Something stinks. And I said that a few months ago on the channel, or a couple weeks ago rather. I said something stinks and they're brewing something. Are they going to all-time high or are they going to bring it down to 44? I said whatever they're doing something right now. This is still something, and this is still my line in the sand. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. I think we get a pullback from here. Generate more liquidity above. Come up. Stop out 70K. Do not come up to the 74K high. Then we come down to like 44, 49. I'm happy with 44. Leave the liquidity intact. That's way better. That's way better if we leave these highs, because then the bull market's not over. If we come and sweep these highs and you don't break above heavily, if you do this and then range here and then come back in, yeah, bull run is done, in my opinion. If you come up and you break substantially, all right, then bull run might not be done. But, you know, say hello to alt season in that case. And if you leave it intact and then you come down, bull run is definitely not done, in my opinion. And I don't think it's over yet. Hang around here and then pop. Also, one last thing. I don't really cover news and stuff. I don't know about it or whatever. But I will say this. The elections are coming up, so things are pretty crazy. And the fact, whenever we get this up-only nonsense, like this up-only nonsense, this was Trump getting shot. This or this was like Biden resigning or whatever, stepping down. This is now Trump's like 60% against the Camel Girls 40%. It's all news driven, you know, none of the technical stuff. Anyways, look, it is what it is. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm doing. My thoughts can change in the next 2 hours. I don't know, right? I see the candles the same way that you do. And I don't have a crystal ball. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think that we're going to go to 74 first? Or do you think that we're going to touch 49 first? Because ultimately, we're just in a macro range. I do think we're going to touch 71 at least, or 70 rather. Maybe not 71, but 70. Maybe we SFP that on the daily. And then if you SFP that on the daily, similar to how you SFP'd the low on the daily, and the high becomes your target, right? You SFP'd this. Put an X there. Then this becomes your target. I do ultimately believe we're going to come to it. Right? What if you SFP the high now? What if you get something like this? Get a nice candle like that. You get a nice wick like that. This check mark turns into an SFP. Where's the target? Sorry to tell you. Right there. And that's going to be the thumbnail. That's it, my friends. Happy Thursday. Have an amazing weekend. I'm probably not going to make a video tomorrow because your boy is going to get a haircut. I look like a caveman. And I'm going to see Justin Timberlake. So get your sexy on.